The forest had always been Maya's sanctuary. For 23 years, she'd walked these trails. First as a child holding her grandmother's hand, then as a teenager seeking solitude. And now as a young woman running from a life that felt like it belonged to someone else. The wedding was in 3 days. She stood at the edge of the clearing where the old oak tree stretched its branches toward the darkening sky, its trunk scarred with decades of carved initials and promises. Her engagement ring caught the last rays of sunlight filtering through the canopy, sending fractured rainbows across her trembling hand. She twisted it absently, the way she'd been doing for months, as if the repetitive motion might somehow make her feel what she was supposed to feel. Love, certainty, happiness. Instead, she felt like she was drowning in still water. I thought I might find you here. Maya's heart stopped, then started again with painful force. She knew that voice. It had been 5 years. But she would know it anywhere, in a crowded room, in a dream. In the darkness of her most secret thoughts, Arya. She turned slowly, afraid that the figure emerging from the tree line might dissolve like morning mist. But Arya was solid and real, more beautiful than memory had allowed. Her dark hair was longer now, falling past her shoulders in waves that caught the fading light. She wore hiking boots and jeans, a faded flannel shirt rolled to her elbows, and carried the same old canvas backpack she'd had in college. What are you doing here? Maya's voice came out barely above a whisper. Your mom told me you'd probably be here. She's worried about you. Arya stepped closer, careful as if approaching a wild animal that might bolt. She said you've been coming to the forest every evening for the past month. My mom sent you? Maya felt a flush of embarrassment mixed with something more complicated. Her mother had never directly acknowledged what had happened between Maya and Arya during college. But she'd never been quite as enthusiastic about Marcus as everyone else seemed to be. She didn't send me exactly. She just mentioned it. When I called to congratulate you on the wedding. Arya's eyes searched Maya's face. You didn't return any of my messages. I didn't know what to say. You could have said anything. Even hello would have been something. The silence between them filled with the sounds of the forest settling into evening birds calling their last songs. Wind rustling through summer leaves, the distant murmur of the creek that ran through the valley below. Maya remembered 100 evenings like this one, when she and Arya had talked until the stars came out, planning futures that had seemed so certain then. Why did you really come? Maya asked. Arya set down her backpack and sat on the exposed root of the oak tree, the same spot where they used to sit together. Because I had to know if you were happy. Really happy. Not just going through the motions. Of course I'm happy. The words came automatically, the same ones Maya had been repeating to everyone who asked. Marcus is wonderful. He's kind, successful, my family loves him. That's not what I asked. Maya felt something crack inside her chest. What do you want me to say, Arya? That I've been thinking about you? That I see you in every decision I make? That I'm about to marry a good man because it's the safe choice? The expected choice, the choice that doesn't require me to explain myself to anyone? The words hung in the air between them, more honest than anything Maya had said in months. Arya stood, closing the distance between them in 3 steps. I want you to say what's true. Even if it's hard. Especially if it's hard. The truth is complicated. The truth is usually simple. We just make it complicated because we're afraid of it. Maya laughed, a brittle sound. You're one to talk about truth. You left. You got that job in Seattle and you left without even asking me to come with you. Would you have come? Arya's voice was soft but steady. Would you have been ready then to tell your parents, your friends, everyone in this small town that we were together? Really together? The question pierced Maya's carefully constructed defenses. She remembered that terrible summer after graduation, the weight of expectation pressing down on her like a physical force. Her father's subtle comments about settling down. Her mother's pointed questions about why Maya wasn't dating anyone. The job offer Marcus had mentioned at his father's firm, contingent on Maya agreeing to give their relationship another chance after their brief, passionless attempt at dating in college. I don't know, Maya admitted. Maybe not. But you didn't give me the choice. I was 22 and terrified, Arya said. I thought if I stayed, I'd watch you choose the easier path anyway, and it would destroy me. So I chose for both of us. And I've regretted it every day since. The sun had nearly set now, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Maya felt tears building behind her eyes, 5 years of carefully suppressed feelings rising to the surface all at once. I tried to be what everyone wanted, she said. I tried to fit the shape they made for me. Marcus proposed and I said yes because it seemed like the logical next step. He's good to me. He wants the same things: a house, children, stability. On paper, it's perfect. And off paper? Off paper, I feel like I'm disappearing. The admission came out in a rush, and once it started, Maya couldn't stop. I feel like I'm watching my life from the outside, like I'm an actress playing a role. When he kisses me, I feel nothing. When he talks about our future, I feel trapped. And the worst part is that everyone's so happy for me, so proud, that I don't know how to tell them I'm making a mistake. Arya's hand found Maya's, their fingers intertwining with a familiarity that made Maya's breath catch. So don't marry him. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. It's terrifying and it will be messy and people will be hurt and angry, but it's simple. You either live your truth or you don't. And what is my truth? Maya asked, even though she knew the answer. Had always known it. Arya's free hand came up to cup Maya's cheek, her thumb brushing away a tear that had escaped. I think you know. I think you've always known. In the gathering darkness, with the forest as their only witness, Maya finally admitted what she'd been hiding even from herself. I love you. I've never stopped loving you. Every day for 5 years, I've thought about you, wondered where you were, what you were doing, if you ever thought about me too. Every single day, Arya whispered. Every morning when I wake up. Every night before I sleep. Every time I see something beautiful and want to share it with you. I'm getting married in 3 days. Then we have tonight. It wasn't a question or a demand. It was an offering, a space held open for Maya to step into or walk away from. This was the moment Maya realized. The fork in the road. She could turn back now, return to the life that was waiting for her, safe and approved and utterly wrong. Or she could step forward into uncertainty and to truth. Into the terrifying freedom of being fully herself. Maya closed the distance between them and kissed Arya the way she'd been dreaming about for 5 years. It was like coming home and diving off a cliff, at the same time familiar and exhilarating, safe and dangerous. Arya's arms wrapped around her, pulling her close. And Maya felt something in her chest that had been clenched tight finally release. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Arya said, "Come with me. I have something to show you." She picked up her backpack and took Maya's hand, leading her off the main trail onto a narrow path that wound deeper into the forest. Maya had explored these woods for years, but this route was new to her. They walked in silence, their hands linked. As the last light faded and the stars began to emerge, after 15 minutes, they emerged into a clearing Maya had never seen before. Someone had been here recently. There was a small tent set up beneath the trees, a ring of stones for a fire, a lantern hanging from a low branch. You were planning to camp here? Maya asked. Arya lit the lantern, casting a warm glow across the clearing. I got into town this morning. I couldn't bring myself to stay in a hotel, pretending I was here for a casual visit. I needed to be somewhere real. Somewhere I could think. About what? About whether I had the right to come back into your life and tell you that I made a mistake. About whether loving you was enough reason to potentially destroy the future you'd built. Arya pulled 2 camping chairs from the tent and set them up near the lantern. I've been out here all day, trying to decide if I should even go see you. They sat down and Arya pulled out a thermos from her pack, pouring hot coffee into 2 metal cups. The ritual was achingly familiar. They'd done this dozens of times during college, stealing away to camp in the woods whenever the world felt too heavy. What made you decide to come? Maya asked, wrapping her hands around the warm cup. I realized that I'd already made the choice for both of us once before, and it was the worst mistake of my life. This time, you needed to have all the information to make your own choice. Even if you chose Marcus. Even if it broke my heart. Maya took a sip of coffee, letting the warmth spread through her. Tell me about Seattle. Tell me about your life. So Arya did. She talked about the architecture firm where she worked, the projects she designed, the small apartment with a view of Puget Sound. She talked about the friends she'd made, the places she'd explored. The life she'd built that was good but never quite complete. I dated people, Arya admitted. I tried. But it never felt right. They weren't you. I know what you mean, Maya said. Marcus is objectively everything I should want. But he's not you. And I've spent 2 years trying to convince myself that was okay. That chemistry and passion were as important as compatibility and stability. What do you think now? I think I've been lying to myself. And to him. He deserves someone who loves him completely, not someone who's settling. The fire had burned down to embers and the night had grown cool. Arya added more wood, and they sat watching the flames climb higher, reaching toward the star-filled sky. I need to tell you something, Maya said. Something I've never told anyone. Arya waited, patient as always. When you left, I was pregnant. The words fell like stones into still water. Arya's face went pale in the firelight. What? Not with a baby. With possibility. With all the futures we could have had together. And I chose to abort that future. I chose fear over love. I chose comfort over truth. And every day since then, I've felt like I killed a part of myself. Tears were streaming down Maya's face now, years of grief and regret finally finding release. Arya moved from her chair to kneel in front of Maya, taking both her hands. You were 22 years old in a conservative town with parents who had expectations and a future that seemed predetermined. You made the choice you thought you had to make. That doesn't make you a coward. That makes you human. I should have been braver. Maybe, but we can't go back. We can only decide what we do from here. Maya looked into Arya's eyes, seeing her own fear and hope reflected there. If I call off the wedding, my life as I know it ends. My parents will be devastated. Marcus will be humiliated. Everyone I know will have opinions and judgments. And I'll have to face all of it and explain myself over and over again. Yes, Arya said simply. All of that is true. And if I go through with it? If I marry Marcus and try to build a life with him? Then you'll be safe and approved. And you'll wake up every morning for the rest of your life knowing you chose fear over love. Knowing you betrayed yourself. There's a third option, Maya said quietly. What's that? I could run away with you right now. Leave a note, leave town, start over somewhere new where no one knows us, and we don't have to explain anything to anyone. Arya smiled sadly. That's just another kind of lie, though, isn't it? Running away instead of facing the truth. You'd still be hiding who you are, just in a different way. So what do I do? I can't tell you that. Nobody can. This is your life, Maya, your choice. I can only tell you what I want, which is you. All of you complicated and scared and brave enough to live honestly. I want to build a life with you that we don't have to hide or apologize for. I want to wake up next to you every morning and not feel like I'm stealing something that belongs to someone else. I want to love you openly, proudly, completely. I want that too, Maya whispered. I've wanted it for so long I almost forgot I was allowed to want it. So what are you going to do? Maya stood up, pulling Arya with her. Right now? I'm going to dance with you under the stars. I'm going to let myself have this night, this moment of truth. And tomorrow I'm going to make the hardest choice of my life. Arya pulled out her phone and started music playing softly an old song they used to love, about courage and freedom and refusing to hide. They swayed together in the firelight, Maya's head on Arya's shoulder, both of them crying and laughing at the same time. I've missed this, Maya said. I've missed feeling alive. They danced until the fire burned low again, then sat together on the ground, wrapped in a blanket, talking about everything and nothing. Maya told stories about her job at the library, the children's programs she'd started, the quiet satisfaction of helping people find the books they needed. Arya described her favorite buildings in Seattle, the way the city looked in the rain. The Saturday market where she bought fresh flowers every week. Do you remember? Arya said. That night senior year when we came out here and you told me you thought you might be falling in love with me? I was terrified, Maya recalled. I thought you'd laugh or be disgusted or tell me I was confused. Instead, I kissed you for the first time. Best kiss of my life. Until tonight? Maya smiled. Tonight is different. Tonight, I know what I'm choosing. Back then, I was just following my heart without thinking about consequences. Now I know exactly what the consequences will be and I'm choosing you anyway. Are you, though? Arya asked gently. You said you'd decide tomorrow. I've already decided. I think I decided the moment I saw you standing at the edge of the clearing. Everything since then has just been admitting it to myself. They sat in silence for a while, the weight of the decision settling over them like snow. What will you tell Marcus? Arya asked. The truth. That I care about him, but I don't love him the way he deserves to be loved. That I've been trying to force myself into a life that doesn't fit, and it's not fair to either of us. That I'm sorry, and your parents? Also the truth. That I'm in love with a woman. That I've been hiding who I am because I was afraid of disappointing them. That I need to live honestly even if they can't accept it. They might surprise you, Arya said. Your mom seemed, I don't know, almost relieved when I said I was coming to see you. Maybe she's known all along. Mothers usually do. As the night deepened, they moved into the tent, lying together in the sleeping bag, fully clothed but intimately close. Maya traced patterns on Arya's arm, marveling at the simple joy of being able to touch her freely. I'm scared, Maya admitted. I know. I am too. What if I mess this up? What if I'm not brave enough to face everything that's coming? Then we'll face it together. That's what love is, choosing each other even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Maya closed her eyes, breathing in the scent of Arya's skin, the pine needles beneath the tent, the smoke from the dying fire. This moment, she thought. Remember this moment. Remember what it feels like to choose truth over comfort, love over fear, yourself over everyone else's expectations. Tell me about the life we could have, Maya said. If I'm brave enough to reach for it. So Arya painted pictures with words, an apartment they'd share, maybe in Seattle or maybe somewhere new entirely. Bookshelves overflowing because they both loved to read. A small garden where Maya could grow herbs and flowers. Saturday mornings at farmers markets and Sunday afternoons exploring new hiking trails. Work they were passionate about and friends who knew them fully. The freedom to hold hands in public, to kiss at dinner, to introduce each other as girlfriends without hesitation. And when people ask about us, Arya said, we'll tell them our story. About how we fell in love in college and were too scared to choose each other the first time. About how you almost married someone else because you thought that was what you were supposed to do. About how I came back on the eve of your wedding and asked you to be brave. About how we spent one night alone in the forest telling each other all our secrets, Maya continued. And how I finally chose love. Are you sure? Arya asked. Really sure? Because once you do this, there's no going back. I don't want to go back. I want to go forward. With you. They fell asleep tangled together, and for the first time in years, Maya didn't dream of drowning. Instead, she dreamed of flying, of shedding weight she'd been carrying and discovering she'd had wings all along. She woke to birdsong and early morning light, filtering through the tent. Arya was already awake, watching her with an expression of tender wonder. Hi, Maya said. Hi yourself. I wasn't dreaming, was I? You're really here? I'm really here. Maya sat up, running her hands through her tangled hair. I need to go. I need to talk to Marcus before I lose my nerve. Do you want me to come with you? Not yet. This is something I need to do alone. But after... Maya took Arya's hand. After, can you be there? Can you wait for me? I've been waiting for 5 years. I can wait a little longer. They packed up the campsite together, moving with practiced efficiency born of dozens of camping trips. Maya tried to memorize everything the way Arya hummed while folding the tent, the easy competence of her movements. The way she looked in morning light with leaves. Caught in her hair dot at the trailhead where they parked their cars the night before, they stood together for a long moment. Maya still wore her engagement ring, a weight on her finger that now felt like chains. I love you, she told Arya. Whatever happens next, I want you to know that. I love you, and I choose you, and I'm done hiding. Arya kissed her softly. I love you too. Go do what you need to do. I'll be here. Maya drove home in the early morning quiet, her mind clear for the first time in months. She knew what she had to do. It would be painful and messy, and people would be hurt. But continuing to live a lie would hurt everyone more in the long run. Marcus deserved a partner who loved him fully. Her parents deserved an honest daughter. And she deserved to live authentically. Marcus was in the kitchen making coffee when she came in. Still wearing yesterday's clothes with pine needles in her hair. He looked up concerned. Maya? Where have you been? I called you last night, but you didn't answer. I was worried. She took off the engagement ring and set it gently on the counter between them. We need to talk. The conversation was terrible as she'd known it would be. Marcus went through stages: confusion, denial, anger, hurt. He asked if there was someone else, and she told him the truth. Yes, there had always been someone else, even when she was trying to convince herself otherwise. I care about you, she told him, meaning it. You're a good man, and you deserve someone who loves you the way you deserve to be loved. I'm not that person. I tried to be, but I can't. Because you're gay? He said the word like it was foreign, like he was testing it out. Because I'm in love with someone else. Because I've been lying to both of us. Because marrying you would be the biggest mistake of my life, and it wouldn't be fair to either of us. Does everyone know? Have people been laughing at me this whole time? No one knows except Arya and me. I've been hiding too, Marcus. I've been so busy trying to be what everyone expected that I forgot to be myself. He stood there, coffee forgotten, looking at her like she was a stranger. Maybe she was. Maybe the Maya he'd known had been a performance all along. I'm sorry, she said. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't undo the last 2 years. Sorry doesn't undo the wedding invitations or the deposits or my family flying in from across the country. I know, I'll help however I can. I'll talk to people, explain that it was my decision, that you didn't do anything wrong. Just go, he said. Please, just get out. She gathered a few things and left, texting her parents that she needed to talk to them. The conversation with them was different but no less painful. Her father was confused and angry, asking what had happened to the nice young man she was supposed to marry. Her mother was quieter, more thoughtful. Is it Arya? She asked. Is she back? Maya nodded, tears streaming down her face. Her mother sighed, looking older than Maya had ever seen her. I always wondered. You were so happy when you were with her in college, so alive. And then she left and it was like someone turned off a light inside you. You knew? I suspected. I hoped you'd tell me when you were ready. But you never did, and then Marcus came along, and I thought maybe I'd been wrong. I'm sorry I lied to you. Did you lie? Or did you just not tell us everything? Both, I think. Her father stood up abruptly. I need time to process this. I need to think. He left the room, and Maya and her mother sat together in heavy silence. Will you hate me? Maya asked. Oh, sweetheart, I could never hate you. I'm disappointed that you felt you couldn't trust us with the truth. I'm sad that you've been carrying this alone. But hate you? Never. And Dad? Give him time. This isn't what he expected. But he loves you. We both do. That doesn't just go away because you're not who we thought you were. Over the next 24 hours, Maya made dozens of painful phone calls. She called the wedding venue and lost the deposit. She called the caterer, the florist, the band. She sent messages to the wedding guests explaining in simple terms that the wedding was off, that it was her decision, that she and Marcus were going their separate ways. The responses varied. Some people were kind and understanding. Others were judgmental and cruel. Maya let herself feel it all, the shame, the relief, the grief, the freedom. She cried until she had no tears left, and then she cried some more. And through it all, Arya was there. Not hovering or pushing, but present. A steady anchor in the chaos. On what would have been her wedding day, Maya woke up in Arya's hotel room, sunlight streaming through the windows. They'd stayed up late talking, planning, dreaming about the future they were choosing. Good morning, bride not-to-be, Arya said, bringing her coffee in bed. Good morning. Maya sat up, accepting the cup. How do you feel? Like I just watched you be the bravest person I've ever known. How about you? Maya considered the question. She'd lost her fiancé, disappointed her parents, scandalized her small town, and upended her entire life plan. She had no idea what came next or where she'd live or how she'd rebuild the relationship she damaged, but she was free. Finally, completely free. I feel like myself, she said. For the first time in 5 years, I feel like myself. Arya climbed back into bed beside her, and they sat together drinking coffee and watching the morning light paint patterns on the walls. What happens now? Maya asked. Now you decide what you want. Seattle? Somewhere new? Stay here and rebuild? I want to go somewhere we can start fresh. Not running away this time, but running towards something. Toward the life we choose together. Together, Arya echoed. I liked the sound of that. Maya's phone buzzed with another message, probably someone else with opinions about her life choices. She ignored it, choosing instead to live in this moment. The hard work of rebuilding would come. The conversations. With her father, the awkward encounters in town, the slow process of earning back trust and learning to stand in her truth. But right now, in the sunlit room with the woman she loved, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Tell me something, she said to Arya. Tell me one secret. Something you've never told anyone else. Arya thought for a moment, then smiled. Every time I designed a building in Seattle, I tried to incorporate something that reminded me of you. A reading nook. A window seat, a view of trees. I was building a life without you, but I couldn't stop leaving spaces for you in it, hoping that someday you might fill them. That's beautiful and sad, but not anymore. Now you can fill those spaces. Now we can build something together, intentionally, without hiding or apologizing. Maya set down her coffee cup and kissed Arya slowly, thoroughly, without the weight of secrets between them. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, she said, I have a secret too, one I've been carrying since college. Tell me. That night in the forest, our senior year, when you kissed me for the first time. I'd been planning to tell you I loved you. I'd rehearsed it 100 times. But then you kissed me and all the words disappeared. So I've been waiting 5 years to say what I meant to say that night. And what's that? That loving you is the truest thing I've ever known. That you're the person I want to build a life with. That I'm done being afraid of my own heart. Maya took Arya's hand, lacing their fingers together. And that no matter what comes next, whether my father ever really accepts this, whether this town ever stops gossiping, whether we struggle or stumble or have to start over a dozen times, I choose you. I choose us. I choose truth over comfort and love over fear. Arya's eyes filled with tears. That's quite a secret. I have one more. What's that? I'm terrified. I have no idea what I'm doing. But for the first time in my life, I'm terrified of the right things. Not of disappointing people or being different or choosing wrong. I'm terrified of how much I love you. Of how vulnerable that makes me. Of how much it will hurt if we mess this up. We might mess it up, Arya admitted. We're human. We'll make mistakes. But we'll make them together, honestly, as ourselves. They spent the day that would have been Maya's wedding packing up her apartment, sorting through the remnants of a life she'd been trying to build on lies. Arya helped her box up books and fold clothes, making silly jokes to lighten the weight of it all. Where should we go? Maya asked, taping up another box. Seattle? Actually, I've been thinking. What if we went somewhere completely new? Portland, maybe, or Denver. Somewhere neither of us has history, where we can just be us. I like that. A true fresh start. We could find an apartment with room for your books and my drafting table. Near hiking trails so we can still have our forest time. A place with good coffee and interesting people and opportunities for both of us. Maya smiled, letting herself imagine it. And when people ask how we met, we'll tell them the truth. All of it. Even the part where you almost married someone else? Especially that part. It's part of our story. The part where I learned that choosing the easy path isn't the same as choosing the right path. As the sun set on what should have been her wedding day, Maya and Arya loaded the last boxes into a moving truck. They'd spend one more night in the forest, then start the drive to their new life in the morning. This time, when they set up camp in the clearing, it felt different. Not like hiding or running away, but like a celebration. A ritual marking the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. They built a fire and cooked simple food and talked about their plans. Arya had already put a notice at her Seattle firm and was interviewing at places in Portland. Maya had contacted libraries in the area, her resume strong despite her personal life being in shambles. Do you think we're crazy? Maya asked as they watched the stars emerge. To append our entire lives like this? Maybe, but I think we'd be crazier to spend the rest of our lives pretending to be something we're not. My mom called today, Maya said. She wants to meet you. Officially this time, not as my college friend, but as my girlfriend, partner? What do we call each other? What do you want to call me? Mine, Maya said simply. I want to call you mine. Then that's what I am. They made love that night in the tent, slowly and sweetly, with all the time in the world and no more secrets between them. Afterward, wrapped in each other's arms, Maya felt a peace she'd never known before. "Thank you," she whispered into the darkness. "For what?" "For coming back. For giving me the chance to choose differently. For loving me enough to risk everything. Thank you for being brave enough to choose yourself, to choose us." In the morning, they broke camp one last time in the forest that had witnessed so many of their important moments. As they walked back to their cars, Maya took one last look at the clearing, committing it to memory. "We'll come back," Arya said, reading her thoughts. "When we visit your family. When we need to remember where we started." "Where we really started," Maya corrected. "Because this is our real beginning. Everything before was just prologue." They drove out of town in separate cars, Maya following Arya's taillights toward a future they'd build together. In her rearview mirror, she watched her old life recede, the town where she'd grown up. The expectations she'd tried to meet, the person she'd tried to be for everyone else. And ahead of her was uncertainty, possibility, and the terrifying freedom of living authentically. Ahead of her was love without secrets, truth without apology, and the chance to build a life that felt like home. She turned up the music and rolled down the windows, letting the wind whip through her hair. In her phone, a text from Arya appeared. "Still with me?" Maya smiled and typed back, "Always." And for the first time in 5 years, she knew she was exactly where she was supposed to be, driving toward a future she'd chosen for herself. Half? With the woman she loved leading the way and the truth, finally setting them both free. The apartment in Portland was smaller than either of them had imagined. A third-floor walk-up in a building that creaked and groaned like an old ship. But it had tall windows that let in floods of morning light, exposed brick walls that gave it character, and most importantly, it was theirs. Maya stood in the empty living room on move-in day, watching dust motes dance in the sunbeams, and felt a surge of emotion so intense she had to steady herself against the wall. "You okay?" Arya came up behind her, wrapping her arms around Maya's waist. "I'm more than okay. I'm home." They spent their first week unpacking, arguing playfully about where things should go, learning the rhythms of living together officially. Arya was meticulous about her morning coffee routine. Maya left books in every room, creating little reading nests wherever she landed. They discovered they both liked to cook, but had completely different approaches. Arya followed recipes precisely while Maya threw ingredients together intuitively. "This is chaos," Arya said, watching Maya add random spices to a pasta sauce without measuring. "This is art," Maya countered, kissing her cheek and leaving a smudge of tomato sauce. The first month wasn't all easy. They had their first real fight over how to arrange the furniture, a disagreement that escalated into something bigger about control and compromise and who's mattered more. Maya cried, afraid they'd made a mistake. Arya withdrew, her old fear of abandonment rising to the surface. But then they talked. Really talked. About their fears and triggers and the baggage they each brought from their past. They apologized and held each other and agreed on furniture placement that neither of them loved but both could live with. "This is the hard part everyone talks about," Maya said that night, lying in bed with her head on Arya's chest. "The real relationship stuff. Do you regret it? Any of it?" "Not for a second. But I'm learning that choosing love doesn't mean everything is suddenly perfect. It means choosing to work through the imperfect parts together." Maya found a job at the Multnomah County Library, starting as a reference librarian but quickly developing programs for LGBTQ+ youth. She created a book club for queer teens, a safe space where they could see themselves reflected in literature and find community. "There's a girl who comes every week," Maya told Arya over dinner one night. "She's 15, terrified her parents will find out she's questioning her sexuality. She reminds me so much of myself at that age. Hiding, afraid, thinking there was something wrong with her." "What do you tell her?" "I tell her the truth. That it gets better, but only if you're brave enough to be yourself. That hiding might feel safer, but it slowly kills your spirit. That she deserves love and acceptance exactly as she is. You're making such a difference in her life. In all their lives. I wish someone had done it for me. Maybe I wouldn't have spent so many years pretending." Arya thrived at her new architecture firm, working on sustainable housing projects that combined her passion for design with her commitment to social justice. She came home excited about affordable housing complexes and community spaces. sketching ideas on napkins over dinner. They built a life that felt authentic and right. Saturday mornings at the farmer's market, Sunday hikes in Forest Park, weeknight dinners with new friends they were making in Portland's queer community. For the first time, Maya could hold Arya's hand in public without fear. She could kiss her girlfriend at a restaurant without looking over her shoulder. She could be fully, completely herself, but the shadow of her old life still lingered. Her father hadn't called since she left. He'd sent a brief email acknowledging her new address, nothing more. Her mother called weekly, asking careful questions about her new life, never quite asking about Arya directly, but clearly wanting to know. How are you settling in? Her mother would ask. We're good. The apartment is coming together. We? Arya and I. A pause. Then, that's good. I'm glad you're not alone. It wasn't acceptance, not really. But it wasn't rejection either. It existed in some uncomfortable middle space that Maya was learning to navigate. Marcus had sent her a single text message 3 months after the non-wedding. I'm seeing someone. Someone who actually wants to marry me. I hope you're happy with your choice. Maya had cried when she read it, not because she regretted leaving him, but because she'd hurt someone who didn't deserve it. She carried that guilt like a stone in her pocket, a reminder of the cost of her freedom. You can't save everyone from pain, Arya told her. Sometimes hurting someone in the short term is kinder than lying to them for a lifetime. I know. But knowing doesn't make it easier. 6 months into their Portland life, Maya's mother called with news. Her father had had a minor heart attack. He was okay, recovering well, but it had scared them both. He's been asking about you, her mother said quietly. He won't say it directly, but I know he misses you. He doesn't know how to bridge the gap he created. Should I come home? Visit? I think that would mean a lot to him. To both of us. Maya discussed it with Arya that night, pacing their small living room while Arya sat on the couch, patient and listening. What if he still can't accept me? Accept us? Then at least you'll know. And you'll have tried. Will you come with me? Arya hesitated. Do you want me to? I don't want to make things harder for you. You're part of my life. Part of me. If he can't see that, then he's not really seeing me. They drove back to Maya's hometown on a Friday afternoon in autumn, the trees ablaze with color, the air crisp and clear. Maya's hands shook on the steering wheel as they got closer. Arya reached over and laced their fingers together. Whatever happens, we face it together. Maya's mother met them at the door, pulling Maya into a tight hug before turning to Arya with a softer but genuine embrace. Thank you for coming. Both of you. Her father was in the living room, looking older and more fragile than Maya remembered. He stood when they entered, his eyes moving from Maya to Arya and back again. Hi, Dad. Maya. His voice was rough. You look well. I am well. This is Arya. I know you met briefly before, but this is Arya, my girlfriend. The word hung in the air between them. Her father's face worked through several expressions: discomfort, resistance, resignation, and finally something that might have been acceptance. Arya, he said, extending his hand. Welcome. It wasn't much, but it was a start. They stayed for dinner. The conversation stilted and careful at first, then gradually warming. Maya told them about her work at the library, about the kids she was helping. Her mother asked Arya about architecture, seeming genuinely interested in the affordable housing projects. Her father mostly listened, but Maya caught him watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. After dinner, he asked to speak with Maya privately. They walked out to the back porch, the same place where he taught her to ride a bike, where they'd had countless conversations about school and life in the future. I've been doing a lot of thinking, he said, staring out at the darkening yard. After the heart attack, you realize what matters. What you might lose. Dad, let me finish, please. He took a breath. I was angry when you called off the wedding. Embarrassed. I told everyone about Marcus, about how successful he was, how proud I was. And then you chose something else. Someone else. Maya felt her defenses rising, but she forced herself to listen. I thought you were making a mistake. Throwing away a good life for something that society doesn't accept. I thought I was protecting you from hardship. He finally turned to look at her. But I was really just trying to protect myself from having to defend you. from having to be uncomfortable. Dad, I was wrong. I see that now. You weren't throwing away a good life. You were refusing to build a life on lies. That takes more courage than I gave you credit for. Tears streamed down Maya's face. I'm still your daughter. I'm still me. I know. I see that now. And I see how you look at her, how she looks at you. You were never happy with Marcus, not really. I told myself you were because it was easier than admitting I didn't know my own daughter. You know me now. If you want to. He pulled her into an awkward hug, his voice breaking. I do want to. I'm sorry it took a heart attack to wake me up. I'm sorry I wasted 6 months being stubborn and proud instead of being your father. They stood there on the porch, holding each other and crying while inside, Maya's mother and Arya pretended not to watch through the window. That night, lying in Maya's childhood bed with Arya beside her, Maya felt something shift in her chest. Not the weight of secrets that had lifted when she'd chosen truth, but the weight of her father's disappointment, her family's potential rejection, that had finally released its hold on her. He apologized, she whispered into the darkness. I never thought he would. People can surprise you. Sometimes they need time to catch up to your courage. Thank you for being here, for being patient with me through all of this. Maya, I would wait a lifetime for you. But I'm glad I don't have to. They spent the weekend with Maya's parents, tentative bridges being built across the chasm that had separated them. Her father asked Arya about her work, genuinely interested. Her mother showed them both old photo albums, telling stories about Maya's childhood that made Arya laugh and Maya blush. On Sunday, before they left, Maya's mother pulled her aside. I want you to know something, she said. I've joined a PFLG group, parents and friends of LGBTQ+ people. I've been going for 3 months now. Mom, I realized I didn't know how to support you because I never tried to understand your experience. So I'm learning. Your father's coming with me next week. Maya hugged her mother tightly, overwhelmed by gratitude and love. Thank you for trying, for caring enough to learn. You're my daughter. That's not conditional on you being who I expected you to be. That's unconditional, period. The drive back to Portland felt different than the drive there, lighter, more hopeful. Maya and Arya sang along to the radio, made up stories about the other drivers they passed, planned their next adventure. I was thinking, Arya said as they crossed into Oregon. Maybe it's time we got a dog. A dog? Yeah, something to make our family complete. Our family. The words sent warmth flooding through Maya's chest. I'd like that. A rescue dog, something that needs a second chance. Like us, Arya said softly. Like us. They adopted a 3-year-old mixed breed named Luna, all gangly legs and soulful eyes. She'd been abandoned twice, skittish and uncertain, but she bloomed in their care. Maya loved coming home to Luna's. Enthusiastic greetings, loved the routine of evening walks through their neighborhood with Arya and the dog. We're becoming domestic, Maya observed one night, the 3 of them curled up on the couch watching a movie. Is that a bad thing? It's the best thing. A year ago, I couldn't have imagined this, being this happy, this settled, this myself. As their first year together drew to a close, they decided to celebrate with a camping trip back to the forest where it had all begun. They invited Maya's parents tentatively, unsure if they'd come. To Maya's surprise, they accepted. The 4 of them 5, counting Luna, caravanned back to the clearing in the woods. Maya's father was still getting his strength back, so they set up camp close to the parking area, but the old magic of the forest was still there. They built a fire and cooked together, telling stories and laughing. Maya's father told Arya embarrassing stories about Maya's childhood. Maya's mother showed them pictures on her phone of the PFL AG meetings, of the friends she'd made, of the progress she was making in understanding her daughter's life. As the sun set, Maya's father stood up, clearing his throat awkwardly. I want to say something. To both of you, he looked at Maya and Arya. I was wrong about a lot of things, but I was most wrong about thinking that love could only look one way. Watching you 2 together this weekend, I see a partnership built on respect and honesty and genuine affection. That's what matters. Not whether you fit society's expectations, but whether you make each other better. Maya's mother stood beside him, taking his hand. We lost time with you, she said to Maya. Time we can't get back. But we're here now and we're learning, and we want to be part of your life. Both of your lives. Arya looked at Maya, tears in her eyes, and Maya felt her heart expand with a joy she couldn't contain. This moment of acceptance and love and family, this was worth every hard conversation, every difficult choice, every moment of fear. I have something I want to say too, Arya said, standing up. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small box. Maya, a year ago you chose truth over comfort, love over fear, yourself over everyone else's expectations. You chose us. And every day since then, you've shown me what courage really looks like. Maya's breath caught as Arya opened the box, revealing a simple silver ring. I'm not asking you to marry me. Not yet. Marriage is still being fought for in some places, and we have time for that. But I'm asking you to choose this. Choose us. Choose forever. Will you wear this ring as a promise? A promise that we're building something real and lasting? Yes, Maya whispered, then louder. Yes, always yes. Arya slipped the ring onto Maya's finger, not the left hand this time, but the right. A different kind of promise than the engagement ring she'd returned to Marcus. This was a promise she was making to herself as much as to Arya, a promise to keep choosing truth, keep choosing love, keep choosing the life that felt authentic even when it was hard. Her parents applauded and her mother was crying, and Luna barked excitedly, sensing the joy even if she didn't understand the words. They sat around the fire late into the night, talking about everything and nothing. Maya's father shared stories. From his youth, admitting he'd had a friend in college who'd been gay and struggled with his family's rejection. Her mother talked about her own journey of unlearning prejudice and fear. Change is possible, her mother said. It's uncomfortable and it requires you to admit you were wrong, but it's possible, and it's worth it. Later, in their tent with Luna curled up between them, Maya traced the outline of the promise ring on her finger. A year ago, I was terrified, she said. I thought choosing you meant losing everything else. And now? Now I know that choosing myself meant gaining everything that actually matters. My family's learning to accept me. I have work I love. A community I belong to. And you. Always you. We still have hard days ahead, Arya reminded her gently. There will be people who don't accept us, places we can't safely hold hands, fights we'll have to have over and over again. I know. But we'll face it together, and that makes all the difference. They fell asleep to the sound of wind in the trees and Luna's gentle snoring, wrapped in each other's arms and the knowledge that they'd chosen right. The next morning, as they packed up camp, Maya took one last walk through the clearing. She thought about the girl she'd been a year ago, scared and hiding, about to make the biggest mistake of her life. She thought about the night Arya had appeared at the edge of the trees like something out of a dream, offering her a choice. She thought about everything she'd gained by being brave enough to choose truth. Her father called out from the campsite, asking if she needed help carrying anything. Her mother was laughing at something Arya had said. Luna was running in happy circles, chasing leaves. This was her life now, real and messy and imperfect in hers. Maya touched the promise ring on her finger, feeling its weight so much lighter than the engagement ring had been, because this time she was carrying a promise she actually wanted to keep. She walked back toward her family chosen and blood, all of them learning and growing and becoming better versions of themselves, and felt gratitude so profound it took her breath away. 1 year ago, in this forest, she'd made the hardest choice of her life. Every day since, she'd been choosing it again. And she would keep choosing it for all the years to come, this life of truth and love and courage, built one brave choice at a time.